another hit, baby. Bombs. We out of here, baby. Crazy. Okay. I stroke so good like Tiger Woods, then I wow like a Tiger Woods.
So hopefully we can have some discussion about how race means and the difference in the way that it means between being a black celebrity and being routinely black in American culture, okay? So one of the things that I wanted from my studies was a way of describing how race looks and matters in the contemporary world, because I do indeed think and thought that it matters. Though I agreed with Toni Morrison that alone race has no inherent value for giving us knowledge about a person, and that it provides us with a shortcut for making meaning of behaviors, gestures, dress, and the like, I was still interested in how it articulated itself and was used in American culture. One way of trying to figure this out was by considering the bodies of black athletes and being able to describe how they were represented in popular culture, but also how they moved through the culture. For an earlier generation, moving through American culture was no simple act. Take Jackie and Rachel Robinson. The indignities of traveling Jim Crow were intimately interwoven into Jackie Robinson's story of baseball, and the means of conveyance played an integral part. The story of Robinson's experience traveling for his first spring training in Daytona Beach, Florida as a member of the Dodgers organization illustrates this. So Jackie and Rachel Robinson started out in LA. While they were able to board the plane and arrive comfortably and safely from California, trouble came their way when they made their first stop in New Orleans. Consistent with historian C. Van Woodward's claim that Jim Crow laid out stipulations for the segregation of airports, the Robinsons encountered Jim Crow signs posted in the New Orleans airport. Most everything in the airport was segregated: restrooms, coffee shops, water fountains. Woodward contends that airplanes themselves were not segregated during the Jim Crow era. He writes, "Even to the orthodox, there was doubtless something slightly incongruous about requiring a Jim Crow compartment on a transcontinental plane, or one that did not touch the ground between New York and Miami. No Jim Crow law has been found that applies to passengers while they are in the air." The ground was an important place for facilitating Jim Crow in the Robinsons case. It immediately provided the airline with an opportunity to orchestrate the racial composition of the airline's cabin. In narrating the events of Robinson's plane touching down, Arnold Romperstein writes, "As they touched down in Pensacola, they heard themselves being paged. Jack and Rachel Robinson were to report to the ticket counter. When Jack left for the terminal, a flight attendant advised Rachel, 'You better get off too.' To their indignation, they could not continue on the flight. First, they heard that a storm was coming and the plane had to be made lighter for extra fuel. Next, after white passengers took their places, the New Orleans authorities had left no room for persons booked out of Pensacola. Vigorously, Jack argued their case, but he understood what was happening. Whites wanted to fly, and blacks had to wait."
Oh man, I'm Jackie Robinson. I father, I Brooklyn Dodger them. I jack, I rob, I sin. Oh man, I'm Jackie Robinson. Except when I run base, I dog.
MIA rolling with Black Star.